The new minutes will be a game changer. Keep on watching.
Welcome to Washington, America show with international multimedia journalist, multidimensional, multifaceted artist and director of Human Rights Justice Council USA, Dr. Kashif Sohail.
The U.S. has two main political parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. Every president since 1853 has belonged to one of these two political parties. They both have different ideas about how the country should be run, and they also have different animals that represent them. A donkey has come to be a symbol of the Democratic Party, while an elephant represents the Republicans. But why is this? It is thought the Republican elephant was first used like this by an Illinois newspaper during Abraham Lincoln's 1860 election campaign, perhaps as a symbol of strength, although it is still debated. It was then made popular after a man, who was a Republican, drew it in a cartoon in a magazine in 1874. As for the Democratic donkey, it is thought this was first used during a presidential campaign in 1828, after the candidate Andrew Jackson used it on his posters because of a nickname his opponents gave him. Again, Thomas Nast later used the cartoon animal to represent the Democrats, and it became a popular symbol for the party by the end of the 19th century.
The Democratic Party's donkey and the Republican Party's elephant have been on the political scene since the 19th century. The origins of the Democratic donkey can be traced to the 1828 presidential campaign of Andrew Jackson. During that race, opponents of Jackson called him a jackass. However, rather than rejecting the label, Jackson, a hero of the War of 1812, was amused by it and included an image of the animal in his campaign posters. Jackson went on to defeat incumbent John Quincy Adams and serve as America's first Democratic president. In the 1870s, influential political cartoonist Thomas Nast helped popularize the donkey as a symbol for the entire Democratic Party. The Republican Party was formed in 1854, and 6 years later Abraham Lincoln became its first member elected to the White House. An image of an elephant was featured as a Republican symbol in at least one political cartoon and a newspaper illustration during the Civil War, when seeing the elephant was an expression used by soldiers to mean experiencing combat. But the pachyderm didn't start to take hold as a GOP symbol until Thomas Nast, who's considered the father of the modern political cartoon, used it in an 1874 Harper's Weekly cartoon.
Titled The Third Term Panic, Nast's drawing mocked the New York Herald, which had been critical of President Ulysses Grant's rumored bid for a third term, and portrayed various interest groups as animals, including an elephant labeled the Republican vote, which was shown standing at the edge of a pit. Nast employed the elephant to represent Republicans in additional cartoons during the 1870s, and by 1880 other cartoonists were using the creature to symbolize the party. Along with the donkey and elephant, Nast is associated with another political animal, the ferocious Tammany tiger, which the crusading artist famously featured in an 1871 Harper's Weekly cartoon that attacked New York's William Boss Tweed and Tammany Hall, his corrupt political machine. Not all of Nast's work was about politics, though. He's also credited with creating the modern image of Santa Claus. Every election cycle, illustrations of donkeys and elephants show up in political cartoons, campaign buttons, internet memes, and some truly alarming fashion choices. How could it be otherwise? The two beasts, the former representing the Democratic Party, the latter, the Republican Party, are mainstays of America's visual culture, as recognizable as Santa Claus or Uncle Sam.
Cast your vote, it's extremely important. 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 Most people would be surprised to learn that both political symbols, as well as Santa Claus and Uncle Sam, were popularized, and given their modern forms, by the same maverick cartoonist Thomas Nast, and over the course of his tenure at Harper's Weekly, he became America's first great political cartoonist, and one of its harshest satirists. In the intricately detailed wood engravings for which he's best remembered, he tackled the Civil War, the follies of Reconstruction, immigration, and, most famously, the Tammany Hall political machine. Some have suggested that the word nasty derives from the artist's surname, and while this is almost certainly not true, one glance at his cartoons might convince you that it is. Historians have asserted that Nast, who grew up in New York City in the 1840s and 50s, was ferociously bullied as a child. Indeed, the two themes that run through his career are his sneering disdain for bullies of all shapes and sizes, and his compassion for their victims. At Harper's, he moved back and forth between these two poles. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Nowadays, editorial cartoons might bring to mind spare, deliberately simplistic images, the kind you can process in half a second while reading the news. By contrast, Nast's dense, meticulously labeled cartoons were news, not just images but arguments, meant to be analyzed and discussed point by point.
It was Nast's insight to present American politics as one big, messy menagerie, a circus. Like the best satirists, he ridiculed his own side almost as gleefully as he did his opponents, and so, he reimagined the GOP as a weak, panicky creature that was constantly lumbering off in the wrong direction, its size more of a liability than an asset. In the 1880s, Nast was the most feared artist in the country, the sworn enemy of crooks and swindlers on the right and the left alike. The elephant and the donkey live on in political pageantry, thanks to Nast's ingenuity. To date, the elephant remains the official symbol of the Republican Party, and you wouldn't need to walk more than a couple paces at one of the rallies of Democrats before spotting a donkey.
Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. Vote.
It's a little weird that both of the major American political parties have embraced their mascots so enthusiastically, considering how poorly the two animals come across in Nast's original cartoons, how stupid, how pliable, how easily confused. Maybe neither party bothered to check. Or maybe they knew about Nast's mockery and decided that the appropriate response was to join in mocking themselves.
Politician Andrew Jackson turned the jackass into a positive symbol. He pointed out the virtues of being a donkey in campaign addresses: persistence, loyalty, and the ability to carry a heavy load. It also symbolized humble origins and simplistic virtues, an ode to the common man. This helped Jackson further differentiate himself from the aristocratic Adams. Jackson wanted to be the president of choice for everyday citizens. Party symbols drawn from the natural world helped to dramatize political issues to reach 19th-century Americans, including those who could not read. Democratic and Republican Party leaders would never have chosen the animals that Thomas Nast did to popularize their policies and ideas. The parties typically adopted national symbols, such as the eagle and the flag. After 1840, the Democratic Party often represented itself as a rooster. Such symbols contended, unsuccessfully, with the popularity of donkeys and elephants into the 20th century. Cast your vote, it's extremely important. 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 Cast your vote, it's extremely important.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the link below in order to find out more.
Please share this video, subscribe to our channel.